What's up folks, Stephen here from Moving to Canada, and today I am in an airport because we are on our way to talk to one of our trusted partners to figure out all about these new tier category things. So if you want to know what tier category you are and also why this is really important for express entry and PMPs, then keep watching because we need to go back to Ottawa.
We are pleased to announce that we will be boarding shortly. Please make your way to gate 138.
Yes, we are back in Ottawa with one of our favourite Moving to Canada partners, Deanne Acres-Lans, who is the founder of Canada Abroad, to talk to us all about NOC Codes and the tier system.
Yes, exciting stuff.
Exciting indeed. Deanne, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us today.
Yeah, of course. Always happy to be with Moving to Canada.
Deanne, let's kick this off with an easy question.
Yeah.
What are tier categories?
So they look at the experience needed, the education, and also, where you rank in a company. So you've got management, and then you've got skilled. So it might, be something that needs a degree.
Okay.
Then you've got maybe college level or technical training positions.
Okay.
And then on the job and then lower level. So what they do is they take your occupation and they put it in a level. So these are tier. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's essentially 6 tiers to the system. And depending on how the government perceives the skill level needed to do your job, you're in one of these tiers.
So some of our viewers who've been watching for a while with Moving to Canada might be more familiar with the NOC codes. Mm-hmm. So what are they and how are they differing from this tier system? Okay.
The NOC codes are still NOC codes. So it's still NOC. We're just moving from NOC 2016 to NOC 2021. But just the classification of the codes is changing. So right now, as an example, if you are going through the Canadian Experience class, your NOC code has to fall within O, A, or B. Okay. With the new tier system, still your NOC code, it's got to fall within 0, 1, 2, or 3. So NOC codes are still essential to this. It's just that the way that they are grouping them and classifying them is different. And it's actually a good thing because some occupations which previously were low skilled, again, not my wording, governments, they're getting brought up. So now they're going to be eligible for express entry.
Right. Interesting. And when we're talking about these skill levels, is there a weighted system against which tier you want to be in?
No. So we get asked that a lot too. So do you get more points right now if you're at a management tier versus a non? No. As long as you're at the skill level for the program you're applying to, that's all they need to see. So as it is currently, if you are at tier 2, you don't get less points than someone at the highest tier level.
So as long as you qualify, that's it.
Yep.
Cool. That is a great explanation and I'm sure very reassuring for some of our viewers. But with the tier categories for specific immigration pathways, what's important to know for PMP programs or express entry, say?
So if you're applying under the Canadian Experience class, your Canadian experience has to be within a certain NOC code to qualify you, and that's not changing. Right now, you'll actually be able to look at each program. So Canadian Experience class, Federal Skilled Worker, Federal Skilled Trade, and it'll show you which group level NOC codes right now qualify for those programs. And then it's also going to tell you now with the tier levels, which ones qualify. So is it 0, 1, 2, 3 for tier? Is it 0, 1, 2? So you'll be able to look up your NOC code and see if your tier level will still qualify you for express entry. And then the provinces are starting to use it as well. BC is a great example here because they run a point system. So it's almost like express entry for the province. So just because you qualify for a BC PNP isn't a guarantee that you're going to get it. So you have to look at the program for BC that you're eligible for, and your points actually are affected by your tier level.
So Deanne, prior to the TEER categories, how did Canada classify these occupations, and how have the TEER categories changed in this?
With the NOC codes, we have grouped them into 5 levels. Okay, so, and these are called skill levels. With the TEER system, what they're really doing is they're creating more levels. So we're moving from 5 to 6. Okay, so we've created one extra section. And why this is really important for express entry is this extra section is eligible for express entry. So currently with express entry, it's O, A, and B are eligible. So only 3 levels, okay? Going forward, there's gonna be 4 levels that are eligible for express entry. So again, a lot of people are afraid of this new tier system. It's actually gonna benefit quite a few people because a lot of occupations that didn't qualify with the new tier level that we've created, which really falls, I guess, between B and C, we would call it, under the existing system. We've created this new level, and a lot of people's jobs are going to qualify now.
So someone who is about to go into the pool at the moment, or maybe they're in already, where can they find out about their NOC code and their tier system code? Where can they go?
So you can go to the site and you can type in your job title, and then it'll give you your 5-digit code, so still your NOC code, and then you can use that to check your tier level. If your job title is not there, look for what is most similar. The government has a matrix that you take your code and you can look at this matrix and it'll tell you what tier you fall into. And it's all available on the government's website.
So Deanne, a lot of our viewers write to us and say that they struggle finding the right NOC code for their occupation. What can they do and how can they find the right code for them?
Yeah, I mean, we get this question all the time. So like I mentioned earlier, your starting point is to take your job title, type it into the system and see what comes up. And it'll give you different NOC codes. And then the question is, which one do I pick? So you'll click on each code, and what it does is it gives you its own page for that specific code. And it's gonna give you what we call a lead description. It's just a mini paragraph to tell you what industry this code works in. So you can read that and say, is this feeling right? Okay, so that's number 1 of where you're gonna start with this. Then further down the page is the most important part of any NOC code. It's the main duties. So it's gonna tell you bullet points. This is what you are expected to do if you work in this NOC code. And this is more important than having a matching job title. And the reason for this is if you get an invitation to apply, you have to provide your letters of employment as part of your application. So to prove your work experience. And with these letters, you have to put your job description. So it's not just about job title like everyone thinks. It's actually the main duty section. And then the other thing I always get asked is, well, Deanne, I'm not 100% match. You know, maybe there's 10 bullet points for this NOC code. What should I choose? Realistically, you want to do 51%.
Okay, just enough to get over it as a minimum.
So, you know, some people say, well, I've got 2 codes that are great fit. Which one do I pick? Well, think about what you do at your job every day. Like your guaranteed tasks for the day. Okay? Which one is the better fit for the job? And which one can you show you do 51% of the bullet points? That's really how you want to look at it. And the other thing, just because I get asked all the time with NOC codes, is there's a section that lists education. So NOC codes are not just used for express entry. Okay, they're used by a lot of different government departments. They're used for labor market impact assessments. Like it's multi-purpose. So some of the sections aren't really applicable. For education, it might say you need this degree or this degree. So people come to me and they say, well, I do the work of this code, but I don't have this degree. Can I still use it? Yes, you can. So it's in the regulations that you can use that code as long as your work experience letter shows you do the duties. You don't necessarily have to have that degree.
For some of our viewers out there, finding their NOC code is going to be simple. Registered nurse, you can pair it off immediately, easy. For other viewers though, it might be a little bit difficult, so maybe they do want to reach out to you and your team at Canada Abroad. How can they do that? What are the steps they should take?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're struggling to find your NOC code or pick between multiple ones, go to our site and you can book a consultation with myself or one of my colleagues. So there's 5 of us on staff that are professionals and lots of experience. And you can book a consultation 15 minutes, even if you want to just talk to us, say, this is my job description. What NOC code would you recommend? And we can guide you through that.
Amazing, simple as that.
Simple as that.
Deanne, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
It's been a pleasure.
Sweet.
Good.
And there you have it, folks. The new NOC, or NOC system, as expertly described by Deanne from Canada Abroad. Now, like Deanne said, if you do need some help preparing your application to make it compliant with the new NOC system, or just navigating Canadian immigration generally, we will most certainly leave a link to the Canada Abroad team down below, along with a link where you can check out the new NOC system matrix, including the new tier categories that Deanne spoke about in this video. That's all from me, but before I go, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and click that little bell notification so that we can continue to bring you all the latest in Canadian immigration news for free through our YouTube channel. Until next time.